Israel and the church is the critical issue at stake in the dispute between what is called modern dispensationalism and Reformed or covenant theology. And it's why I say dispensationalism should be called split covenant theology, because the dispensations is not the real issue, the carving up of history into the sections of a bamboo pole with the joints being the various covenants that identify those dispensations. Everybody accepts that. What is really at stake is the nature of that last covenant, the covenant in Christ's blood. That old covenant has disappeared. Now, the modern dispensation says, no. God says it's going to disappear, but the modern says, no, it's only set aside temporarily, and after the rapture, God is going to take up again his relationship with his covenant people, Israel, and there's going to be a restoration. God says it's going to disappear. The dispensationalist says, no, it's not going to disappear. It's going to be restored after the rapture. And the reason they can say it's going to be restored after the rapture is because they have that split of what the Bible has one word for the second coming called, well, parousia. It also called the epiphania, the appearing. But parousia is the word that's used, I think, 27 times. They have split the parousia between the rapture and the second coming and put 7 years of tribulation in between. There is absolutely no scriptural justification for that. But they invented one. They found one in Daniel 9:27, where it says that he, that little pronoun he, shall make a covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week, he shall cause sacrifice and oblation to cease. The whole dispensational system rests, at least that is the eschatological part of the system, rests upon that one verse, and they get it all wrong by misidentifying that little pronoun he. Who is the he? They say it's the Antichrist. And the covenant that he makes is a political covenant with the Jews, and he breaks the covenant in the middle of the 7 weeks and blah, 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 and on, brings God's wrath. When you look at that passage very carefully, who is that he? It says it's the prince who will come. Well, who is the prince who will come? Well, just 2 verses before that, you have unto Messiah the prince. And then it talks later about the prince who shall come. Well, it's talking about 2 Messiahs, it's future. And he, the prince, Messiah, will make a covenant. Now the word make, you got to look at that verse. Every word of that verse is important. First you identify he is the Messiah. The second is confirm. That means to validate, to make it effective, to take something that's so far only on paper or in theory and make it real. That's exactly what you have in Hebrews when it says he certified or confirmed the covenant with his own blood. For wherever there is a will, it's not in force until when? The death of the testator. Well, that's exactly what it's talking about. In the middle of the week, he confirms the covenant by his own death. The dispensationalists, by misidentifying the pronoun he, they misidentified the meaning of confirm. They misidentified the covenant. It's not a political covenant. It's talking about that new covenant that Jeremiah 31 was talking about. It's the new covenant in Christ's blood that he confirmed. And when? In the middle of the week. How long did Jesus minister? 3.5 years. That's the first half. He confirmed that covenant by his teachings and by the miracles that he did, but then finally, of course, by the crucifixion, offering himself as an eternal sacrifice, and then the resurrection from the dead. That was the middle of that week.